Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to my match on WWE 2K25. In this one, we have got the Orient Express representing WWF. We've got the Midnight Express for WCW, and for ECW, we've got the Rock and Roll Express. A real Express tag team match, which is actually now incredibly important. With only 2 matches remaining of the tournament, we currently have a tie in the lead. 16 wins for WCW and 16 for ECW, with WWF falling behind with only 13 wins. They are out of it. It's now between ECW and WCW, and a big win here will put one of these teams in the forefront moving into the pay-per-view. So this is the Orient Express with the long hair there on the right-hand side. You have got Pat Tanaka on the left-hand side with the shorter hair and the beard. That is Akio Sato. This is the Orient Express. And I think this might be their debut as a tag team. It might be their debut in general. It looks like it is, you know, in our universe mode. We've never used them before, which is great. I love getting new people in. All right, put them on. Pat Tanaka and Akio Sato. There we go. The other 2 teams I know we definitely have. We've used those quite a few times. Let me just add a note so we know who they are. Orient Express. There we go. So debuts. It's been a pretty good week for debuts. We've seen quite a few across the entire... okay, that's not what I wanted to do. We've seen quite a few debuts across this entire competition, which has been great. This is what I said before. The fact that PJ Toby wrote this card for us meant that we had a lot of new people that we hadn't used before. I don't know why it went so dark for a moment there. There we go. So next up then, we have got representing WCW, the Midnight Express. On the left, that's beautiful Bobby Eaton. On the right, you've got Sweet Stan Lane. And coming through the middle, you've got Jim Cornette. So the Midnight Express currently are on +1 from 17 matches. And I'm sure, yes, they are former 2-time SWE Tag Team Champions. So it's matches like this they're going to have to win to force their way back into that championship picture. It really, really is. Because, let's face it, 17 is not great at all. And then we have the Rock and Roll Express. Rock and Roll, there they are. Nope, that's Rock and Sock. We have got the Rock and Roll, haven't we? Is it Rock and Roll? There we go, Rock and Roll Express. We have got on the left-hand side, the blonde is Ricky Morton. On the right-hand side with the darker hair is Robert Gibson. These 2 guys are on 0 after 12 matches in a universe, but we haven't used them since 2022. We used them 11 times in 2021, once in 2022, and never ever since. So we're going to get some good use out of them here tonight in this Express Tag Team match. Let me just add on then the Orient Express, Pat Tanaka and Akio Sato. There we go. Alright, we're on. Everyone's on. The bell rings and we are underway. So this is standard triple threat elimination rules. So, essentially, both members of a team have to be pinned or submitted for the team to be fully eliminated. The winners will be the last man/team standing. So, effectively, you can be eliminated first and still go on to win the match if your tag team partner can go the distance. It's no disqualifications, no countouts. Pinfalls and submissions can take place anywhere in the world, or outside the world if you can get there, I suppose. But it's an interesting one. I would like to see more of these retro teams. This is back when tag team wrestling was really appreciated. I think in the WWE especially, tag team wrestling is not appreciated anymore. I know AEW sort of built themselves around it. I think they've had good moments and bad moments in AEW in the tag division. I mean, the Young Bucks, of course, are a fantastic team, as are FTR. But apart from that, they've struggled here and there. They have had some very good teams come and go. Of course, you've got the Hurt Business, you've got Brodido there as a big team at the moment. But yeah, I think maybe they need to do like we have like some big annual tournaments in AEW for certain things. I think having a tag team tournament would be really good. Having an annual, I think we want to do one as well. I say we, I want to do one. I think I've discussed it with Omega in the past about doing some sort of our own Crockett Cup style tag team tournament, which I like the idea of, to be honest. I was thinking about it the other day, and I was thinking maybe we do 40 teams. Is that too many? That is too many, isn't it? I just think, I mean, we could do 32 teams, which would be 4 lots of 8, and we could do different generations. 2020s, 2010s, 2000s. That's not enough. I want to go back further than that. I don't know. We do 80s, 90s, 2000s, 210s, 220s. That's 5. That is 40 teams. Maybe we could do that. Maybe I could figure something out. We could do. We'll do one competition for each generation, and then the 5 winners. Maybe they'll do a round robin for those 5 winners. That could work. It'd be our own sort of style. I might have a look into that. That could be decent. That could definitely be a good way of doing things. I like the idea of that, actually. Really focusing a week on tag team wrestling. Be a good way to really build the roster up as well. Because we don't do a lot of tag team wrestling. We have tried to squeeze quite a bit into the last couple of weeks, which is great. We haven't done any female tag team wrestling in the last couple of weeks. We've got quite a bit coming up over the next couple of weeks or the next week actually, of tag team stuff. Quite a few new ones as well, because we are moving straight from this Invasion pay-per-view into our NXT TNA Showdown. So we are going to utilise some people we've never used before, like Dark State I've never used before. We've got some women's tags as well. We've got Hank and Tank versus the Good Hands. Neither of those two teams have ever used before. We've got TNT at one point. I don't even know who they are, but they've never been used before. We've got OTM, never been used before. The Nemeth Brothers were never used before as a tag team. So yeah, lots of opportunities in the next couple of weeks to see some new teams. But I'm really interested in who's going to win this one. I think both the Rock and Roll Express and the Midnight Express should be a lot higher in the rankings what they currently are. They're 2 of the top teams ever. But the problem is, and I've said this many, many times, so you're probably getting bored of it by now, but the issue is, what we do is we showcase the best against the best. That's how you get the views on YouTube. No one's going to watch me put the crap ones versus the crap ones, so it makes sense to put the best versus the best. But the issue with that is it means that someone has to lose. So the top teams are always dropping down, but when we put mediocre team versus mediocre team, because it looks better on paper, then you get mediocre teams getting higher and higher scores. So it's a balancing act, isn't it, really? It really is a balancing act. But maybe we'll have to just book more. Do more of those random things. Thing is, I don't even know who would be a bad team to use. Like, if I was to put, like, the Midnight Express, who would be a basic team you'd put them up against? That's probably a question again for Meg, who's got much more knowledge of that sort of era of wrestling than I do. Was there, like, an old-school jobbing team we can use to try and put some of these other teams over? I don't know much about the Orient Express either, really. I don't even know if they were deemed as a big team, or were they just, like, a short-term thing used, or... I've just typed in Orient Express and of course put the train rather than the wrestlers. There we go. The Orient Express was a tag team in the early 1990s. There was 2 iterations. We've gone for the original one of Pat Tanaka and Akio Sato. After a while, Akio Sato was replaced by a guy called Kato. They were managed by Mr. Fuji. I could have done that, couldn't I, really? But there you go. So they wrestled in AWA once or twice. They went into WWE in early 1990s. They knocked around for a couple of years, and then they split up in sort of 91-ish by the looks of it. So yeah, they were never really a big team. So really, they could be the sort of team that we use to help put other teams over. They were former AWA Tag Team Champions and AWA Southern Tag Team Champions, as well as CWA, Continental Wrestling Association Tag Team Champions 4 times. But yeah, I think in terms of the teams we have here, I think that they probably are the underdogs in this one. I do think the Midnight Express and the Rock and Roll are probably the better ones. I think the Midnight Express are the main ones. I don't even think Rock and Roll were... Rock and Roll have been around for a long time, done a lot of things. So there's elimination. Oh, okay. There goes Robert Gibson from the Rock and Roll Express. Rock and Roll Express, obviously been a team for many, many years, have worked in everywhere. Yeah, they've won quite a few belts between them. Not anything in WCW or WWE by the looks of it, or even ECW. It was all the old school stuff, so NWA, Mid-South. Yeah, very accomplished tag team, lots and lots of different championships. As beautiful Bobby Eaton now is up on the corner, looking to take down Ricky Morton, which I'm assuming has happened, but we can't see it. And there's the X Factor there by Ricky Morton. But Akio Sato now with the super kick into the face. And look at the single leg Boston Crab. So the fact now that there is a numbers advantage for both the Orient Express and the Midnight Express at the moment against the Rock and Roll is a big one. I mean, if Midnight kind of eliminate one member of Orient or vice versa, then it's going to be looking very, very strong in their favour. That's the problem with the, what I said about the Crockett style tournament. It is Crockett, isn't it? That's the tag team tournament, isn't it? Is it the Crockett Cup? Let me just make sure I'm not being an idiot here. Yeah. The Crockett Cup, the Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Tag Team Tournament. It's still going now, by the way. It's still being done. I think they did it in NWA this year, did they? It was something that was done originally a while ago, and then they just sort of... It sort of stopped for many, many years, and then it re-began back in 2019 as part of NWA. The very original winners were the Road Warriors. No, they weren't. That was the final. The very original final was the Road Warriors versus Magnum TA and Ronnie Garvin. There's an elimination now. Oh, there we go. The numbers game now is firmly with the Midnight Express. We've got one member of the Rock and Roll left. We've got one member of the Orient Express left. And both members of the Midnight Express. This is a big opportunity for them to pick up the points they need and force their way back into potentially going for the SWE World Heavyweight Championship. Tag team wise, that is, obviously. Bobby Eaton now working over Ricky Morton inside the ring. And I mean, one more elimination. If either Ricky Morton or Akio Sato are eliminated, it's going to be done. As soon as you get to that 2-on-1 position, it is over. I mean, at this point in time, it's all about Akio Sato and Ricky Morton working together to try and eliminate one of the members of the Midnight Express. But it's not looking good as the numbers game is firmly in the favour. There's the Saito suplex. Now dragging him away, well, trying to drag him away from the corner. There we go. Discus forearm there. And Bobby Eaton now grabbing a hold with a sleeper hold here on Ricky Morton. If he taps, it's going to be over, surely. He's out. Gonna pin him? Oh, he's gone. Referee's called it. Okay. Referee has called it wrong to a 2-on-1 situation. Bobby Eaton seems to have got his leg stuck. Which could be interesting. Oh, there he is, out. Okay. Yeah, the Midnight Express actually faced them against the Sheepherders, otherwise known as the Bushwhackers in the final, the 87 Crockett Cup. And the 88 Crockett Cup, we saw, again, the Midnight Express up again. Hang on a minute, I read that wrong. The 87 was the Superpowers, Dusty Rhodes and Nikita Koloff versus Lex Luger and Tully Blanchard. 88 was the Midnight Express versus the Bushwhackers. There's the win. No, it's not. Okay. So yeah, we'll definitely do our own tag team tournament at some point. That's what I like the idea of what I said though. We'll do five 8-person tournaments. Five 8-team tournaments. One for each decade from the 80s through to the 2020s. The winners of those 5 will then do a round-robin competition between them. All faced each other once, and the winning team will go on as the winners and then get an opportunity, of course, at whoever the current tag team champions are as well. Got a strike there by Sweet Stan Lane on Pat Tanaka, the only man left. Well, I've been called a Kiyosato the whole time. I mean, that's Pat Tanaka. I completely messed that one up, didn't I? There's the pinch away at the shoulder now of Stan Lane. As Bobby Eaton comes across, striking. I mean, there's no way Tanaka's going to get the win here, surely. I mean, it's not impossible, but... I mean, it's not impossible, but it's impossible, let's face it. The way the game works, to win a 2-on-1 situation is going to be so difficult. Sweet Stan Lane taking up Tanaka in with that pile drive. That's got to be enough for the victory, surely. There's the pin. The referee runs across. There's the 1. There's the 2. And there is the 3. And that puts WCW in the lead now with 1 match remaining. WCW are on 17 points. Wow. Going into the pay-per-view. So basically, if Aja Kong or Bull Nakano wins, then WCW are the victors of the entire tournament. If Jazz wins for ECW at the pay-per-view, then it becomes a draw and the match will go down to our showcase, the War Games match, Team WCW versus Team ECW. Wow. The War Games match will happen either way, by the way, but it will only be part of the competition if it ends up as a draw. If it is secure that WCW have won, then that match will solely be a showcase. Does that make sense? Right. Into the tag team rankings then, the Rock and Roll Express with that loss moves down to a -1 after 13 matches. The Orient Express, after their debut, moved down to a -1 after 1 match. And the Midnight Express, this was a big one for them to win. It's worth 3 points, 1 point for the win, 2 points for the beaten multiple opponents. They move up to a +4 after 18 matches. They had 16 matches in 2021, which is when they were the 2-time world champions, of course. In 2022, they had 1 match, and this was their first match since. We need to make sure we get more use out of these guys. They are a fantastic tag team in the history of wrestling, and with that victory, now move themselves up into 18th position in the tag team rankings. And then, of course, into the singles rankings, Sweet Stan Lane with that victory moves up to a 0 after 13 matches. Bobby Eaton is going to move up to a 0. Oh no, he's moving up to a -1 after 18 matches. Of course, the reason why it's different is because we have done other teams and we have done other variations of the Midnight Express. We have done other singles matches as well, so that's the reason why those two don't match up. Then across then to Robert Gibson and Ricky Morton. They both lose a point, move down to a 0 after 14. And then Akio Sato and Pat Tanaka both move down to a -1 after 1 match. There we go. That is the end of all of our individual matches. All we have left for you now is the pay-per-view. That'll be coming up for you in a few hours' time because I am running behind. It's going to be big. We will decide the victor of this entire competition at the pay-per-view. At the moment, it's looking like WCW, but there's that potential, if Jazz gets the win in the Women's Hardcore Championship match, that it could go down to War Games. But either way, WWF are out either way. I will love you, leave then. Good night. God bless. I'll be the same. I'll see you soon for the pay-per-view. Bye-bye.